that's a pollock. So that's my pollock ready to go out. I'm fishing it on a £110 wire on a pulley system rig, and fishing with the Sea Glow Kentro 80 hooks, short shank, wide gape. Absolutely love this stuff. Fantastic hooks. I've been using the 4Os for all my bass fishing, and now I've got some of the bigger stuff for the bigger game. So there we are, that's now ready to go out. Sun's out. Wow, it's gorgeous. Come on, you fish. Right, so what I've done, the big rods are out fishing, there's a pair of them, and what I've done is I brought my bass bait rod with me, and I'm going to do a little bit of float fishing, just to see. It might be a little bit early in the year. So how do I set up my float? So basically I use bait stops, yeah, so these little silicone bait stops. I think these ones are Tronics. Lots of people make them, lots of different companies make them. They're just what I got with me. And then what I do is I put one of them up my main line, which is braid this time round, like that. So now people use a stop knot and stuff like that, but I find these absolutely perfect. And what it means is there's enough friction there to stop the float going up the line, but also to change the depths, you can just slide it. So that's your bait stop, and you can just slide it up or down, whatever. So then I put a bead, and the reason for the bead is to stop the float going over the bait stop, the rubber, yeah, so it stops like that. And then from that you have a ball weight which slides to another bead, to to a swivel, and then from the swivel I have roughly about 2 foot hook length, and that there is obviously to my hook of choice, which can be different sort of hook, whatever you prefer to use. And then, so basically now, if I was to slide that stop bead down like that, that'd be fishing at 2 foot of depth, yeah. And then obviously I can slide it back up, and then you can mark it up a foot at a time until you can find where them fish are and how deep the gully or whatever it is you're fishing into is. So it's just a nice simple way of setting a float up, really. I've caught my scissors here, I have, with the hook. Yeah, so nice and simple. So I've set my float at roughly about 5 feet at the moment, and then I'm just going to flick it into this gully, just like that. And what I'm going to do now is let that go down slowly, and then I'll bring the float close to the side like that. Now with float fishing, especially in the summer, believe it or not, the closer you dare to go to the side to losing your gear, the closer you go, the more chance of fish, and sometimes it's closer the better. And literally sometimes that float wants to be touching the side. I say seals don't really bother me. They're not always hunting. Yes, sometimes they'll take you a fish when you're reeling in, and I know it's frustrating, especially when you're mackerel fishing and stuff. The only tip I can give you towards the seals is don't feed them. And I know it's cool to feed them, but if you feed them they'll hang around. So yeah, a little tip there, don't feed the seals, not unless you want them to stay. But if you ignore them, they're very nosy, I think is the word I can use. They want to know what you're up to, basically. And you do get a lot of seals that are used to fishermen, so they'll come to the fishermen knowing that they're going to get bits of food, and people are going to throw bits of scraps, bait to them and stuff. Yeah, it's all good fun, don't get me wrong, it's smart to see, but they get into a habit of it then. And I've literally caught some nice pollock over the years with a seal no more than 5 foot away from my float, and he hasn't touched it. And yeah, I've been fishing and he's taken my bait. Another fresh bait. Pollock. really quiet under the float, so I thought I'd chuck the sabikis back out. And there we go, the silt, fresh pollock. We'll get it out for bait now. Tide's pulling again now. It's started flooding in, so get some fresh baits on both the rods, and hopefully we'll get something decent. That was a screamer of a run then. Yeah. Right, guys, guys, I think I've just lost my first taupe of the year. I was messing about with the float rod. Both rods were obviously out with fresh pollock, and it just went. I had the camera was in my pocket, so I tried to set it up as quick as I could. It wasn't sitting right, and I'm right on the edge of the rocks. So I tried to show you a bit of the initial run, a second run. Anyway, I hit into it. It took off. A lot of weight there, taking line. I tightened the clutch a bit more, taking line, taking line. Anyway, I got it coming towards me. It just stayed deep, lots of heavy thuds, and boom, gone. Don't know what happened. Just boom, gone. Yeah, I don't know. Oh man, I'm gutted. It might not have been a taupe, but it just all felt taupey. Didn't see it, but proper, like I said, I was with a float. Anyway, threw the float rod, run to it, tried to get the camera so I could get some action. It stopped, and the next thing it just screamed off, as you've seen, and I threw the camera down, and like I say, hit into it. It went another 20 yards, turned it, a few heavy thuds coming in up against the tide, and then boom, gone. It was just deep on thuds. Oh, I'm absolutely gutted. Right, I'm gonna get the rod back out, guys. Yeah, gutted.